Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Let's Play Every Day. I'm Tim McNiff, and every day I get the opportunity to speak with sports influencers like this about sports, business, entertainment, the sports talkers of the day. Yes, there he is, America's everyday comedian, C. Willi Myles, Minnesota State Senator Karla Bigham, who's back in the car because there's work going on around there, and the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Darrell Thompson, joining us this morning. This program is sponsored by Northern Lids. Check them out at northernlids.com. Northern Lids, simply the finest headwear that money can buy. Yes, I put up the social media talking about all the different sports things we have to talk about. But a topic is, of course, where it is everywhere else. It's the Academy Awards. Senator Bigham and I were doing a show called Gorgomatic, and I casually mentioned at one time, because Kevin Gorg is a huge moviegoer, and we thought, hey, we should do an Oscar show. And on me that we didn't do it because I just have too many other things going on and I couldn't pull it together. And the senator so wanted to do that. And I'm sorry I let you down, but you were dealing with me, so get used to it. And and then she put out her predictions beforehand in her sheet. And you just about had a perfect paper.
I did. I missed three. But it's just unfortunate that instead of talking about the historical night with Coda winning for the deaf community and also a Latina Black lesbian winning Best Supporting Actress, which are both historical. We're talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock, and it's unfortunate and took away from the night. Questlove, that was his award for a wonderful documentary on the Summer of Soul. If you haven't seen it, watch it. And it just was very unfortunate. You wonder at times what happens there. But I honestly, I said this to Tim, first person I thought of was C. Willi, because what if you were doing the bit, C. Willi, and somebody just walked up and clocked you? He just kind of gave approval to somebody doing that. And as somebody who gives speeches a lot that to people who don't agree with me, it is a possibility. And so it's just bad example to set. I can think of 100 ways till Monday to have done that. Like, when you're at the Vanity Fair party, take your statue you just won and you knew you were going to win, and say something else about my wife. In the statue, gonna have some words with you. How you like them apples. But it's just how it's just unfortunate. But what a great night. Bunch of great films this year. I encourage people to watch all the best picture nominations. They were great, but Coda by far to me was the best.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep it real with you on my point is that no one's gonna ever walk up to the stage and point to C. Willi. I can tell you that right now. Number one, C. Willi don't do that type of humor. Like that's what happens when you mess around with people's lives. First Amendment is always there for you, but words have consequences, and you don't know when those consequences are gonna show up. Correct. I learned that at my mama's house. Yep. And I'm not saying what Will did was right. I'm just saying is that's not what I'm talking about today. I think his Oscar was very well deserved.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm not going to not talk about Coda. I just think that's just something that happened in the heat of the moment. And it was one little thing that happened. And I think if people want to make it all about that, then that's too bad you spent your time watching it. You know what I mean? And that's the sad part. But for me, it's just that people need to realize that it's okay to disagree with people, but when you're attacking somebody's life and you're attacking somebody's wife or you're attacking someone's husband, at some point, the words that come out of your mouth, you don't know when that's going to trigger someone. You know what I mean? And you can stand back and say, oh, pity me, poor me, or whatever, and people can defend Chris Rock all they want. I'm just saying, I'm not saying what Will did was right. I'm just saying that you need to pick your battles, man. And at some point, when you start talking, you need to read the room. That's what I always do. I stay away from controversial material. I don't do politics. I don't do any of that. My job is there to entertain people, not to insult people. That's not what I do. And that's part of his shtick. and they say what they want to say. So continue to say what you want, but understand there are consequences, and you just don't know when those consequences are going to show up.
That's true.
I'm sorry, Darrell, please.
No, and I just think it's, Chris Rock has always been edgy. I mean, that's what he does. He pushes the limit. He's funny. He's, I don't know, maybe like a modern day Richard Pryor or something like that. But I mean, in this case, he went over the top, and then Will went beyond over the top and, embarrassed himself. And, it's just like it's a show that, that nobody really wants to, have continue. We like to all move on, but it was an embarrassment to everyone. Yeah, we need to move on, but it is, hopefully a lesson learned by everybody. And Will did grow up in a rough situation. I think sometimes all that kind of comes back, seeing his dad hit his mom, all those different types of things are like, there's a reason things happen, and things swelled up in him that probably haven't swelled up in him in a long time. The anger, the frustration, the hurt, and it bubbled over, and it's unfortunate, but it's just a hard deal all the way around. But the rest of the night was a challenge because of that, unfortunately.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it gives a new definition to that. He got in one little fight and his mom got scared.
Somebody put that on social right away. Now we know what his parents said
Karla.
to some. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Now he found out why he had to go to Bel Air.
Yeah.
The whole night was interesting to me. They tried to marry sort of old Hollywood with kind of what's happening now, kind of bring people back to what sort of what it used to be, and whoever's idea it was to bring out poor Liza Minnelli, that was a bad decision. I mean, somebody should have, and God bless Lady Gaga for being as graceful as she was, and as supportive as she was, because that was a really bad decision. I even watched the guys come up for The Godfather, and I'm going, and the only one who talked was he's got to be in his 80s. He was short, he was eloquent, he kept it together. Pacino didn't say anything, De Niro didn't say anything, it's a slippery slope, right? It's a slippery slope, and you're out there. And even I thought the hosts, I didn't expect their opening comments to be as sort of biting as they were. I thought there was a lot that was said there that I was like, I didn't expect it. I thought it would be a lot more kid gloves than it was.
With Amy Schumer and Wanda Sykes, you're not going to get kid gloves. No way.
No, not Wanda Sykes.
On those two. So they were. I mean, I agree. Like they didn't hold back, but I thought their stuff was hilarious. I mean, I think it was a good choice to have multiple hosts. I mean, I think that they played off each other. I thought that part went really well compared to the traditional just no host for the last couple of years, or just the one host. I thought it was better to have multiple.
I told them to call me.
they might.
Apparently, I'm not big enough. They keep saying that, but I'm just like, well, I have verbiage. I speak to people all the time. I've never had no one to tag me. You might want to have one person that can go out there and not start a fight.
Yeah.
Let's get to the wild. Come on now.
Let's go. What do you want to say, DT? What do you want to say?
No, it's time to get to the wild. It's time.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
about
we
the
got
wild.
We got some success. We got to capitalize. We got to ride the wave.
I put in there in my socials. I'm not sure if their model is long-term sustainable, going to overtime 3 times in a row. Forcing the overtime and getting, but as much as they had gone that slide and kind of played themselves into a rough spot, other teams are stumbling, and now they're climbing back out of it. Weird year. I was told last week not to complain about the wins, so I won't.
Exactly.
Well, the thing about winning is it cures everything. It's one of the most successful football coaches, in the Big Ten, Barry Alvarez says, you know what winning does? It cures you. It heals your ills. It heals your sore muscles. It heals your sore body. So you win, you have success, to go over time. Guys are excited. They'll go get their treatment. They're going to rest. They're going to drink water. You lose. Guys feel pity. They're like, I might as well go out and drink. I might as well go out and not get enough sleep. But when you win, you're like, I want to win. I want to keep winning. Let me take care of myself. So hopefully those young guys that are playing for the Wild are able to capitalize and ride the wave.
Yeah, to consider the team that they just beat too. I mean, Colorado is still definitely a threat, to be one of those teams that makes a long run. It puts a little doubt. It shows put that little seed of doubt in their mind too, that, that wasn't even their number one goalie anymore that beat us yesterday. And Talbot has played out of his mind. 5 straight wins, 6 straight wins, 8 straight, whatever for the, he's got an 8 straight win, 6 for the team. And they're still playing at home. They've got like the whole month at home. I'm not sure what the schedule makers were thinking when they made that deal, but they did their duty, their work on the road earlier, and they put themselves in this position to, give themselves a good opportunity to be successful in the postseason.
Yeah, I think they're again, and I said this last week, but consistency is going to be key for them down the stretch here. And I think having the home stretch coming up is phenomenal for them. They're finding ways to win, and they're scrapping it out. And I think that they're just trying to get themselves into the postseason. And I think it's going to be a special team. I think this might be a special year, but they can continue to find ways to win. It's going to be exciting. Very excited for them.
On the other side, our Timberwolves are on a slide, and we knew that the schedule was going to get more difficult. They were going to be on the road. And if you saw Boston yesterday, you saw any of that game, that's a team that is constructed to go deep. I mean, I like the Celtics. I like what they've built there. I think that tandem of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are, from that forward position, are just wrecking balls. They can rebound, they can run the floor, they can shoot from anywhere, and they've got all the complementary parts. And I think they caught the Timberwolves, at a time when the Wolves had been through these emotional games on the road, at home, and they came out yesterday and just got run over. I'm not overly disturbed about what happened yesterday.
No, Timberwolves played 2 really tough games. And then coming in and then going to the Celtics. First of all, it's not easy to win in Boston, no matter how good you are. You go to Boston, it's like going to, to play the Lakers. When you go into those arenas, it's so much history. It's nostalgia in there, man. When you walk in there, you look up in the ceiling, you see all them banners. Sometimes that alone, will give you the defeat. But playing them like they did, I mean, they hung tough. They closed the gap a little bit there. But again, that was a road game, and sometimes, you're going to lose those road games with those tough teams. And the Celtics, like you said, they put together a great group of players there. And they're as talented or a little bit more talented than the Wolves. But I tell you what, they might have won that game by a few points, but they didn't beat those guys up. I mean, that was home court advantage is what that was. And the Timberwolves had some games like that too, where they had that home court advantage, and that score looks a lot worse than what the game actually was.
I think there's some of that. And I think that it's also a lesson for the Timberwolves. We're trying to be a team like that that's got some daggers. I think with Beverly, he's kind of like our version of Smart. And then you got Big Cat and you got Ant and you got so we have some like pieces and parts. I mean, it's also just like it purely to me. It's like, okay, that's what it looks. That's what we could have here, to me. So I mean, I was, and then the playground lob off the backboard is always like the ultimate kind of borderline insult. Like, it's like, well, what the heck? Might as well just throw one off the backboard. I got a guy that can, he can get up, and everything kind of sailed out. So that's the ultimate, gets shown on Sports Center like, I don't know, probably 25 times over the next day and a half. But,
right.
You move on, you live and you learn. And, it's a fun one for those guys to have, unfortunately, for the rest of their life, so they can. And they're in a golf tournament in 15 or 20 years. They remember that lob I threw back? Yeah, I remember. We remember those things where you either got someone or someone got you.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But they did a little bit of that themselves, at home. The Wolves did it to some other teams, LeBron and the Lakers, and what goes around comes around to some extent. But to me, what that game was about yesterday was, I think the game against Phoenix, and I think the games against Dallas and that game yesterday, all going to serve this team well, because that was all playoff basketball. And and teams have figured out too, if Cat's going to come out and he's going to defend the perimeter, somebody else has got to become that rebounder. Somebody else has got to become that force underneath it. They can't just do the alley-oop lob and there's no one there, and so the teams have adjusted to what Finch has done and have done effectively. And Cat's a really good defender away from the pivot, but we don't have that other guy back there yet, or we've got to find that other piece. Maybe he's nursing an ankle injury. When he comes back, maybe, Noel, maybe he's that guy. I don't know enough about how. I'll trust that the Wolves will then adjust again. I trust this coaching staff. I think they have enough players to correct this. But they've got a couple more games on the road, which are ultimately going to decide, can this team escape the play-in games or not?
Yeah, I was just going to say that too, Tim, is that they're going to take these lessons and make the adjustments and prepare for the playoffs, in the stretch into the playoffs. So I think that's a good point, and that's what any good team does. Any well-coached team with versatility like we have and consistency like we have.
Well, Darrell, you missed an interesting conversation last week. Perhaps you saw some of this or not, but we were talking about the March Madness, and Willi dropped kind of an interesting observation on me that I just kind of took my world and went like this, as only Will can do. And I'll summarize it a little bit, and Willi, correct me, because I know you will if I'm wrong. But Willi doesn't start paying attention to March Madness until it gets to the 16, and he doesn't fill out his bracket until it gets to the 8, because he needs to get all the pretenders out of the way. And then it's because he doesn't have the time. That was my favorite quote was from Willi. He doesn't have the time to put in to the rest of that.
Well, you know what I got to say to that.
I was
a
looking
man
for you
who
at
works
the
20
time.
minutes a day should be able to, take maybe a half hour. Willi, maybe I could send you. My wife does a bracket. She does. It's harder when your kid's involved. So we've had that little blessing this year. Our kid was involved, so I couldn't fill out a bracket. Normally I'm like, I can fill out a bracket. We have a little family thing, put it in, and somebody wins. I don't know what, we don't even give anything out, but it's just family bragging rights and a work little kiddie pool or something. But you might want to just maybe get involved a little bit earlier.
See, the problem with y'all brackets, you have too many feelings involved in them, man. See, I don't have time for that. Like, the thing is that 64, you're just guessing. I already played the game. I've coached the game. I've watched it. I've watched day after day, game after game, the whole game. I just don't. The part that you're wrong, Tim, is that I watched the games. I just don't get to fill out a bracket until it gets to I don't really get into it until the Sweet 16. But then when the 8, when you get to the final 18, then I'll complete a bracket and go, here you go. Here's what I think is going to, here's how it's going to play out. And I was pretty accurate, because what it does is you watch how they play and you kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get an idea when they run up. And I said, what? What did I say about St. Peter? Cinderella, it's going to lose her pink slipper come that game. And they beat Purdue. And I said, but you will not be in the Final Four. You will not be in the Final Four. And the Final Four was right. I don't think I missed out on the Final Four was I think I had Houston. I had Houston losing or winning.
They did lose, yeah.
Yeah, and they lost.
You thought Clyde Drexler and Phi Slamma Jam was going to come out.
Yeah, I really did. See, that's me back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I had Zaga winning and to my bracket blue, but then I still have Kansas and Nova's still in it. Am I not right?
Oh,
or did they
lose? Yeah,
Nova's in it. So I think I have Kansas in the championship, all the way to the championship. So we'll see. But I had Zaga winning it.
Well, Willi puts a picture of his bracket that he just did, whenever, Wednesday or Thursday, where we filled it out, on social media. And Tyler Furness is like, oh, boom. He thinks that's he doesn't see that there's nobody filled out in the outer parts of this thing, It's no, wait.
Well, everybody who filled theirs out are done. I mean, now you're mad because I didn't start till late. Because
I'm not mad. I just thought it was preposterous. That's why you can't walk in.
If you look up the
word
at the very end,
go, now I'm going to start to play. You can, but I'm just I don't have to give it any time either.
That's why nobody invites me into their pool, because they know that's how I play. That's why no one gambles, because I don't gamble with people. People don't ask me to come in and play with them if they're going to gamble. I don't gamble. So what I do is, what works for C. Willi is to keep my sanity, so I don't sit and have to watch 77,000 games to realize when it gets to the last 20 teams, I have no team in there now. And then you mad. You don't even want to watch it.
We want to see. We want to see how good you are as a coach. I mean, a good coach can analyze, break down film, be like, I really feel like, this St. Peter team, the New Jersey squad, whatever the name of this, they got a tough mentality. They can get through it. And
I retired from coaching. I retired from coaching for that reason.
Breaker.
I fill out a bracket and then I watch the NCAA wrestling tournament the first weekend.
See?
So it's like. I look at the results, but I mean, if you'd have told me, and my sheet reflected this, that it would be North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, and Villanova, and just to read those four names, I'm like, if you didn't go to one of those schools, do you give a bleep about any of those four teams or pulling for any of them to win it again? You know what I mean? All of a sudden, Villanova becomes this is 1985. I'm pulling for Villanova again against the heavyweights because these other four. These are blue blood programs, but I mean, Duke lost Coach K's last home game, and they got eliminated from the ACC tournament. What are they doing in the four? I didn't think this team was capable of it.
That's what they do. That's what they do. That's why. That's why you have great teams like North Carolina. These teams build. They're built for championships. That's what they're built for, and kids come there because they want to be on TV and they want to win championships. And those schools have history. They have pedigree. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, when I look at it, is it interesting to see? No, would I rather see St. Peter in there? No, yeah, I would. I would love to see St. Peter. I'd love to see a lot of schools that never won a national championship. I like to see the underdogs. I really do. I root for them. But at some point, you run up against talent, and you run up against pedigree, and you don't have that at those schools, and And I'm sorry, and that's one of the reasons why you make it so far, and you don't get to the next level. Now we got a mid '80s, Final Four again. We see those teams all the time. It's like watching the Patriots play in the Super Bowl every year.
Yeah, it's going to be good basketball, though. I mean, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, but responding, to your point, my point was this: Kentucky's the same way, and I thought Kentucky had a team that was built for a deeper run than any of those three teams. I mean, Kansas I could get. I didn't think North Carolina as an 8th seed and Duke having stumbled into the tournament the way they did was primed to. I thought they were ready to be upset like they were a couple of years ago in round one. I thought they were prime upset candidates, and here they are in my sheet, which I shared early. Gone. Yeah, I couldn't have been any more wrong than I was this year. That is for sure. So that's your men's Final Four. The women have got half of it booked, and this is going to be this is no jokes either. These are heavyweights. South Carolina, who was your runner-up last year, is back. They beat Creighton, who had a really nice tournament, a young team, but a really nice tournament by 30. That is not a joke. South Carolina is real. Stanford gets in there. South Carolina is going to play either Louisville or Michigan, who will play tonight. I didn't see Michigan making that sort of a run, but there you go. And the other one is, and this is weird too. I mean, if I didn't have this connection to Minnesota, UConn playing the number 1 seed North Carolina State. Ordinarily, I'd be pulling for North Carolina State because I'm tired of UConn. But we have Paige Beckers, and we have the tournament here, and I would like to see her get the opportunity to come home and play. And I think the fans will get a kick out of it too. It's a good story, right?
Absolutely.
More than a kick out of it. I mean, that's a big deal. That's our homegirl right there. That's like if she's like a Karla Alameen. I wish that Karla Alameen was like the most dominant point guard that that played high school basketball here in the state of Minnesota. Just
without a doubt.
From 8th grade to 12th grade, it was just incredible. And Paige is similar. I mean, I've been hearing about her since, I don't know, when she was like in 7th or 8th grade, and they pull her up and everyone's coming around talking about her. So for her to be able to come home and show off, what she can do with a great team would be, a lot of fun and great for the state of Minnesota. So hopefully it happens. Hopefully she stays in one piece too. I get a little bit angry at their coach when they get out, they get a lead. I'm like, you know what? You can sit her down. She doesn't need to go back in the game with 45 seconds to go to hold on to the ball and to get the ball up the court when you got a 14-point lead. So that's just me being a protective dad. I'd be like, nah, you gotta just, you just gotta let her sit down for a minute, rein her in.
Hey, amen. If I can just, going off script for a moment, and this is a subject I brought up in this program before, and I'm troubled by it, and I am again. There's other things to get to yet, but the Gopher women have lost another key component to this basketball team. Caddy Sissoko, who was one of their two primary returning players, entered the transfer portal. And Darrell, I hear you. I know you said before that's just kind of the nature of the thing here now, but I'm flabbergasted, more than a little concerned about this program and this coach. I mean, I love Lindsay Whalen, but I just feel like something's not connecting or is wrong there, because she has had so many high profile players leave this program, or, in the short time that she's been there. I'm concerned.
I am too. I saw that last one. I was like, oh, maybe Tim might have an issue. So I don't know. I don't know enough, and I think we'll know a lot more. And I think obviously she's going to get the time. She's going to have at least 2 or 3 more years. If this continues,
just re-signed.
Yes, so she's going to have some more time, and we will see. But I think I believe that it's probably got the attention of everyone, including the administration and Mark Coyle.
Yeah,
I'm 100% sure that she's, Lindsay is talking with the athletic director, and so letting them know what's going on when that happens. And I can tell you from as a college coach, there's many reasons why kids leave. Sometimes it's maybe the offense that she's running, and sometimes when a coach puts in their offense, and this is what Lindsay's 3rd year,
Yeah.
and when you're running through, the freshmen from the last year, from the first year that you didn't recruit, and you're putting your recruits in now, and you're starting to change things up a little bit, and they got a big season coming up next year. That's just her do or die season, really, as far as I'm concerned. And I think some of the players want to go somewhere else and do something different because they don't want to play under either that regime or that offense, where they don't feel like they're going to stand out or do the thing. You know what I mean? Coaches have different ways of coaching. And I'm not saying that some of this may not be Lindsay, but I'm saying as a former coach, if a player wants to leave, I'd rather have them leave than stay and be unhappy. That's the thing. And then coach the people that are there that want to play. You can't look at, she's not the top 5 player in the world, in the country. She's a good basketball player, and you're going to have someone to replace her. So hopefully she'll do well, and good luck to her wherever she goes.
Tim, just as an aside, and Willie also. So my son plays in Indiana. They had 4 men enter the portal over the last week, and they fired a coach. So it's not. I don't. So it's kind of like guys, and they're like good kids or good people, and they're like, I'm not going to play here, and coach would have an even more honest conversation, because it is like guys just don't want to stick around. That kid that played for Miami played at 4 schools, played at Kansas, played at Miami, played at, I can't remember the other 2 schools. I was like, this guy played everywhere, not everywhere, but he played at a whole bunch of different schools. And now that's like, just like we job hop, people job hop. I'm an old man. I've stayed the same place for like 27 years, but most people are like, I got a different job. What the heck? It's a big deal. It's a job.
Right. And I think some of these kids at Portal has meant a lot to these kids to have opportunities to go to a different school that may have recruited them, but they feel like, okay, this is my buddy is over here, so I'm wants to go play with a friend, or you don't know why they did it. It's just, this girl was a good player. She had good minutes and good time, but at the end of the day, you don't know why she did what she did. You almost got to ask her. But I'm sure Lindsay's had the discussion with the athletic director, because here's the situation. So I don't get. It's just like what Darrell said. I heard that about that schools that you have people that move. Just like like I said, I'm glad for these players, honestly, because coaches did it all the time. You recruit kids, and then you just take a job somewhere, and all of a sudden you had promised a kid 4 years, and now this kid's got to play for a coach he had never heard of before, or doesn't like, or wouldn't have, or that recruited him somewhere else and he turned him down. So now this guy's gonna be bitter at him or whatever. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you as a player, you have options to go somewhere else and play, and that's cool.
And you're going to have successful players that want to be there and believe in the coach, believe in the process, believe in in their teammates, and you're going to have way more success with that than sitting there trying to beg somebody to stay that doesn't necessarily want to be there for many of the reasons you two have said.
So I just will just, it's probably the new system, and I just need to get used to it.
Yeah.
But and even the player that left right before the Big Ten tournament, she didn't have minutes, right? I could see an unhappy person, and she picked a time right before the tournament, like to that's a dagger.
Mm-hmm.
That was intentional.
Right.
For Sissoko, she's been there with Lindsay the entire way, and she's obviously was expected to be a primary player. But that's the players that we've lost. The one player accepted that left right before the Big Ten tournament. These are high profile players. These are every time. It's not a person that's been struggling for minutes. It's not. So maybe maybe what you're saying, is it the system, or is it just something that Lindsay is or isn't doing? And yeah, I guess my expectations were such that I always viewed her such as coach on the floor, and she was going to be every bit as successful immediately. I thought the cupboard was full enough that my expectations were maybe too high. I hope it's nothing. I'm just afraid it's something. So anyway, mention real quick on the way out, because it is already 10:01. We haven't even gotten there yet. The Gopher men's hockey team, first Frozen Four trip since 2014. They will play Minnesota Mankato. Yep, and that one is going to happen at 7:30 on April 7th. And the other half of that bracket is two number one seeds. Three of the number one seeds made it through the Frozen Four. The Gophers stopping the only one that was Western Michigan. And Denver will place Michigan in the other semifinal. And the Gophers have like 14 NHL prospects on their team. Michigan has like 20. So I mean, the
whole team.
They're loaded. Both of these teams. And Denver, I don't know what they have, but they're loaded too. And I just want to point out on the way out that Taylor Heisey is a young woman who both her parents played college basketball at River Falls. And she somehow got into hockey at Lake City and had to make a choice, and she chose hockey, which meant that she had to drive or get somebody to drive her from Lake City to Red Wing so she could play high school hockey at Red Wing. She was given the award as the nation's Heisman Trophy winner for women's hockey, the Patty Kazmaier Award.
Wow.
In all the years the Gophers have had their program, Wisconsin's had 5 Kazmaier Award winners, and the Gophers have had 2 until yesterday. And I've seen some wonderful, wonderful young women players overlooked for this award. So I'm thrilled. I don't know how we finally got one, but congratulations to Taylor Heisey on winning the Kazmaier Award. And she's coming back next year because she said, yeah, but I want I want a natty. She wants a national championship. So she's coming back next year. So, and one more thing on that note too, just as I get you guys on the way out, there's been this rift between the Olympic women's hockey players, Canada, the United States, and then the Finns, the other top players, and the professional league that's there. And the NHL has done their best to I don't see this. I don't hear it. They haven't got involved. There was a meeting last week where all 3 of them were in the same room at the same time. So I certainly hope what this means is that the NHL is going to shepherd these 2 groups back together. They're going to support the way the NBA has the WNBA, and maybe there is a WNHL coming soon, which I hope for all these women that they get this opportunity and the support from this league, which I know is not the NBA in terms of revenue, but it's a hell of a lot better than whatever else is out there. And this is the start of the growth and expansion of these women, where they don't play in the Olympics and then they play 4 or 5 times for the next 2 years, waiting for the next world championships. Right. It's just wrong. So that's me on the soapbox, guys. So Willi's got a show on Friday. My question is, if nobody's ever seen you, can they still see you? And there's a little travel involved, but are there tickets still available?
Yes. Yeah. I think there's a few. I don't know how many. I'm gonna be up there Friday up at the Aiken Opera House, which is downtown Aiken, and I'm looking forward to it. I've never performed there before, and a good friend of mine who worked with me in radio, she was our marketing and advertising producer. She lives up that area, and she said this will be a great venue for you, and we got together and they talked with my management team, and boom, I'm up there just like that. So I'm looking forward to it. So if you've never seen my show before, come. I mean, it's like, my show is fun. It's non-offensive. It's no politics. There's no Humor and won't be no punches thrown. If it is, it'd be see Willi be throwing them because
That's right. I
how
say,
I
don't
roll.
try
I mean,
this.
yeah, don't try me. I'm good.
So
Senator, am I keeping you from any committee?
yeah, I've got to get going. So just want to wish everybody having a good day and a good week, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thank you for
Take
your
care,
time.
Senator.
You go in there and make
DT?
that vote.
Thank you.
DT, anything we should know before we let you go?
No, things are good. Things are good. We're just busy rocking and rolling, and in the hiring process here at Boulder Options. So it's a lot of paperwork, more than I'm used to, but it's fine. It's part of the deal.
You still looking, or you found?
We're still looking for
What are
a
you looking
marketing
for?
and development director, and also a chief operating officer here in June or July.
So some major roles.
Yeah.
That don't sound like 20-minute a day jobs right there.
I might have to work. I might get a whole 40 minutes in. Let's see, Willie. I'm gonna try to go 40 minutes today, in between my walking the dogs and lunch and dinner, happy hour.
I was so looking for you last week when Willie started explaining this thing to me, and I'm like, listen to me. He goes, I don't have time for that. And I just about fell off my chair, and I go, God, where's Darrell? Why can't he be here right now for that? That was just beautiful.
That's a classic.
I get where he was going, but it's the way it came out. It was like, oh, the door was wide open.
Yeah.
You guys are the best. This is Let's Play Every Day, the show where we encourage you to get off the sideline, get in the game, because, well, that's where the action is. Have a good day, everybody. See you right back here tomorrow.